Time to shed some light on our squash team here at the Academy. And when you hear the last name of our next guest, you're probably not surprised. There seemingly is always one of the Kacergis brothers hanging around here at the Naval Academy. Time to talk to the sophomore, Michael Kacergis. And, you know, as we were just talking about with our squash SID station, Mashad, for you, brothers who share a bond here, obviously, at the Academy, how much has that been from a family dynamic, being able to bounce stuff off of them, not even athletically, but just, of course, what you go through every day here at the Academy and the expectations of you?
Well, it's been a great help to have so many brothers gone through here. I mean, the first example that was over plebe summer. My brother Billy, who graduated, I saw him every morning out on the pep field. So that was something that not many other people got to experience over there. Plebe summer was seeing their older brother every day out there over plebe summer. Having Johnny on the team, currently he's a year above me. He's a junior right now. Having him be there to, guide me, show me some of the ropes when I was a freshman, and even now, like with summer trainings or even stuff in the classroom, he's helped a ton with that.
Why squash? What attracted you to the sport of squash?
For me, it was my older brothers. All four of my older brothers played, and in a big family, it's competitive, so I always wanted to one-up them. I wanted to be better at them than the things that they were good at. So if they were good at squash, I wanted to be better than them at squash. So that's how it started.
Was it a tough game to learn?
At first, yeah, it was really tough. I was a baseball player by trade, so that's what I grew up playing, and then they all started playing, and it's a totally different sport. There's much more hand-eye, much more involved with your legs, much more running. So the first few years were pretty tough to pick up on. But once you started going with it and once you started getting more involved in that, it came pretty quickly.
Obviously, as a baseball player, you ever go down to Costi and say, hey, in a pinch, if you need me, I can throw a little bit down here at the Academy. And, when you come across some of the baseball players, do you ever have a little baseball talk with some of those guys at some point?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Tom Wilson on the baseball team, one of my good friends. He's a pitcher. I had actually thrown a few times with him, just for fun in the off season.
Do you miss it when you do that?
Oh yeah, I mean I love baseball. I still I'm a Phillies fan. Go to all the Phillies games over the summer, and yeah, I miss baseball, but I enjoy playing squash just as much now. I've picked it up. That's my new passion.
Yeah, he's a Malvern, Pennsylvania guy. That's why he likes the Phillies. Don't worry, they're on their way back up. They've got some decent young talent. They're on the way. You ended up at Phillips Exeter, which is one of the top prep schools in the country. I mean, my son played at Massanutten, and they played all those schools up there in basketball. What was that experience like for you, and how did that help you get prepared, obviously, for a place like the Naval Academy?
Well, going to Exeter, just the whole experience, I wanted to get away my senior year. I wanted something that would be more similar to a Naval Academy experience. So be away from home, manage your own schedule, more of a college-like experience up at Exeter. You had less classes but more work. You had to manage your sports, your academics, your social life, much more than I did at my previous school. So that was the main factor.
Doing it on your own too. I mean, that's really the key. I mean, you're on your own basically in a situation like that. Like a huge help, obviously, to what now you're trying to accomplish here at the Naval Academy.
Oh yeah, there was more autonomy there at Exeter than I had as a college student here. Even now in my second year, when so many restrictions of plebe year taken off. I still have more restrictions now than I did there. So that helped me get used to it, and then they took some of that freedom away, but I was still able to function.
How much of an adjustment was that, having to make the adjustment to having those kind of things taken away, that plebe year, and having so many restrictions, and concentrating on making sure that you didn't violate any of those restrictions here at the Academy?
Are you from plebe year to youngster year?
Yeah, from plebe year to youngster year, yeah.
I think it's been a huge help. I mean, some of the stuff like managing my own schedule, like last year, I'd be, after school I would have all the extra plebe duties to worry about, but this year now I can worry about getting my homework done early, getting to bed earlier, waking up later, not having to wake up for early plebe duties. And I've noticed a huge help. You feel more rested, and I think that's helped me in the classroom and on the squash court.
How'd you win 21 matches last year?
Those
that don't know, I mean, the whole plebe year for a student, let alone a student athlete here at the Academy, is as difficult as it gets. So how did you pull off 21 wins with all of the things that are expected of you that very first year?
I think for me, it was every time I got on the court, that was for me the way to get away from the academy. You know, that was I'm on the court. I'm not worried about my grades right now. I'm not worried about being a plebe. I'm out there. I'm just enjoying myself out there. So that really helped me focus on what I was doing and helped me get those wins.
Consistently right now battling for the 1 and 2 spot on the roster. What is that competition like on a daily basis, competing to, play at 1 or 2 when match time comes?
Well, it's not just 1 or 2. It's all the guys. I mean, at the top of the ladder, we're all so close. We go back and forth every practice. I mean, every day we're supposed to be in there at 3:45, but a lot of us will be in there, 3:20, 3:30, getting in there, just playing games with each other, And it's that competition. It's that you want to one up the guy next to you, and I think that team mentality of we want to be better than each one of us individually is making the team better as a whole.
I was going to say, can you see when you're out there? Can you see the guys that are willing to put in that extra time, that extra effort in a situation like that? Because on a roster, there are some guys that will, and there are a few guys that won't. How do you weed those guys out as you go through the process?
Well, I think one player this year who's really stood out, is really going the extra mile, is another freshman, Jack Lentz. In his big matches, he's willing to put his body on the line, dive out there. I mean, he's going until he can barely walk. He's going in there before practice, staying after, playing extra games. He's one player, I think, doing an amazing job.
When you made the adjustment, obviously now to playing at the college level, was a big jump from the squash you had played to this level now?
It was a big jump. I was playing number 1 at Exeter, so I got a few matches up with the boarding school leagues. They had some international players who were now in the upper echelon of the collegiate ranks, but there was a big jump with the consistency. So even last year, starting out at number 7, every match was more or less contested match. Whereas in Exeter, there were a few matches that were pretty easy, then you'd have a really hard match. A few matches that were pretty easy, then a really hard match. So it's the consistency of having to go out there every time and play your best.
Operations research, getting the job done in the classroom right now. Why that concentration? What do you like about it?
I've enjoyed my math classes here a lot. My plebe year, I enjoyed Calc 1, Calc 2. Didn't like my chemistry classes, so that eliminated that from the process. And also, Dylan Sweeney on the team was an operations research major, and he recommended it. I asked him to show me some of the work that he was doing, and it looked pretty interesting to me, and I'm glad I chose it.
All right. Great job, big fella. Keep up the success, and good luck the rest of the season.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right. Mike Kacergis from the Navy squash team joining us. As always, you can find out about the squash team and the other 32 varsity sports here at the Naval Academy. That's right. We got 33 of them here. You can go to NavySports.com.